Good morning. My name is Jason Brooks from Dallas, Texas.
I'm Ryan Fitzgerald from St. Petersburg, Florida. We're coming to you live from SRS 57 in Stockholm, Sweden. Today we have the pleasure of being able to speak with the 2020 Traveling Fellows. We have both the fellows as well as the senior fellow with us today. We're excited to have a conversation.
Sure. Excellent. So first off, we would love for you all to introduce yourselves, where you're from, and then we'll find out a little bit more about your experience over these last couple of weeks.
I'll go ahead first. Okay. I'm Javier Pisones. I work in Madrid, Spain. Do 50% peds, 50% adults. And I got engaged in this adventure 3 weeks ago, and it's been great so far.
I'm René Kastelein from Utrecht, the Netherlands, and we've been traveling together for the past couple of weeks, and I'm sure we'll get to talk about that a little bit more.
Hello, I'm Donggyun from Korea. I worked in the Sangebek Hospital in Seoul. I'm very happy to travel with our godfather René and Javier, and it's good for travel. Okay.
So we just left the last session where you guys gave a great recap of your trip through San Diego, Dallas, UNC, and then New York. Really the purpose of this, we're hoping to hear a little bit more about the process beforehand. How did you go through becoming a traveling fellow, and can you tell us a little bit more about that experience?
Sure. Happy to do it. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I applied for the first time, I think it was like 6 or 8 years ago. I don't know, because it's different for international. National is even and odd years. And first time I applied, I could not do it through. Second time I did not apply, and I applied at the end. I was almost 44 for that time, and you have to apply under the age of 45. But we persistent. I think I made it, and so happy I could.
I also applied 3 times for like Javier, because at first I have not enough careers, and I didn't give up, and I tried 2-3 times, and in the last time is I have nearly 45, so it's deadline. So fortunately, I have opportunity, and so if you have, I think if you try to again, not give up. Okay.
So it sounds like to me that I shouldn't wait till I'm 44 years old to start applying. I should probably give myself about a 5-year buffer just in case. Okay, excellent.
That's a very common theme that I've heard among traveling fellows as well. I think currently the cutoff is 45. There is some discussion at higher levels that they may extend that to a later age, so keep your eyes peeled for that.
Awesome. Dr. Kastelein, you were above 45 when they asked you to be the senior traveling fellow. And so what do you think are the criteria that they choose the senior traveling fellow? And I guess what thoughts do you have to give to other more senior surgeons who might one day be tapped to be the senior traveling fellow?
Well, you're right, Jason. I'm a little bit above 45. And actually, I never applied for anything. They just sort of assigned me to it, I guess. And I remember that when I was asked to do this, I really had to think about whether I wanted to be away from home and do all the traveling. And I'm so absolutely happy that I decided. I discussed with my wife. We both really spent some time on it. And we both actually decided that I should do it. And I'm very happy that I did. This is an amazing experience, and I would not have wanted to miss it. And it's been a way to get to know people that I didn't know yet, to get to know people better that I already knew, and made a lot of friends along the way. And also with my 2 buddies next to me, we became very close, which will probably have an impact for the rest of our lives, I guess. And just the experience of being on the road, but also being with all these great colleagues and friends by now that we met along the way is a life-changing event, I would say. I'm very excited about all the things we saw, both scientifically, all the presentations that we did and heard and had, but also the practical things in the OR, seeing how people do things, but also the equipments used and those kind of things were very enlightening. But maybe most important, the talking to the people, the social element, the discussions after the case, but also the discussions in the evenings, were, you know, just one continuous ride with only highlights, basically. So I guess that's more or less my answer, and it's been a wonderful experience. I would certainly encourage anyone who gets a chance to do that to really take it very seriously, and my suggestion would be do it, because you'll probably not get a second chance, and it's a great experience. And we want to thank all the people that have made this possible. We want to thank them very much for enabling this and allowing us to do that.
Excellent. You know, this is the Scoliosis Research Society, and I think a lot of people might view a traveling fellowship as a lot of traveling, a lot of sightseeing, but I do want to ask kind of for the traveling fellows, how important was the research aspect of things? Like, did you feel like you had to have a certain threshold of papers in order to kind of be accepted to be a traveling fellow? Just explain to those who might be thinking about doing a traveling fellowship one day how important the research side of things was.
Yeah, the thing is, when I first applied, another European guy, who's Brice Ibarbold, had gone into this adventure, former, and he had 40 papers already published in PubMed. So I wanted to get to that 40, you know, I wanted to get to that 40, and I pushed hard, and I did that 40. And nowadays the rules have changed, and you don't have to present the 40. You just have to present I think it's the last 5 years, but. For sure, CV is very important. Letters of recommendation is very important too, and you have to find good godfathers for that too.
Yes, good question. I think that the paper is a research paper is important, but it is the most important thing is we have the both research and the CV and as well as recommended letters. So I think if we prepare the both three, and so it's important, and not only the number of papers.
Yeah, so mentorship obviously is a huge part of the Scoliosis Research Society, and I think to encourage those out there that are watching this thinking about doing that, if you don't have a local mentor, this is certainly a society in which you can walk up to people in the hall, introduce yourself, and find mentors that way just by interaction at the annual meeting or other meetings throughout the year. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. I appreciate you all for giving us your input on your experience, and thank you for it all.
Thank you very much for having us.
So now that you all have met our amazing 2020 Traveling Fellowship, we would love for those who are interested in potentially being an SRS Traveling Fellow one day to know basically how to get there. So it's very important to understand that we have an international group of fellows and a North American-based group of fellows. And based on which category you fall into, that also tells you which year you would apply in. So for the international fellows, you would oftentimes submit your application in an even year in order to do the traveling in an odd year. Versus the North American fellows, you would submit your application in an odd year in order to actually do your traveling fellowship in an even year. The traveling fellowships are usually 2 to 3 weeks in length, and so just expect that that will certainly be somewhat of a hit to your clinical practice. However, as you heard from our traveling fellows, what you gain from it far outweighs that for sure. You do need to be an active or candidate member in good standing with the SRS in order to actually apply for the traveling fellowship.
Also, applications are open every year from August 15th until October 15th, but we encourage anyone interested to apply.
Excellent. Ryan, what year do you think we're going to try ours? I think we're about 37 now.
We have
so.
to try now so that we can get it before
Yeah,
45.
yeah, hopefully. All right. Looking forward to it. All right. Thanks, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you at the next annual meeting.
The Scoliosis Research Society is a nonprofit professional organization made up of physicians and allied health personnel. Their primary focus is on providing continuing medical education for healthcare professionals and on funding and supporting research in spinal deformities. Please visit srs.org for further information.